they suddenly realized, hey, we're rooting for the wrong guys. This chap is he's the one we want.
Yeah. I'm so very mixed. I'll go mad. First of all, everybody makes fun of me because they think I'm related to the whole world.
Mirchi पर मेरा नाम है RJ Dnyaneshwari, and very honestly, sir and Aditi, I'm extremely thrilled to be here right now. वो कुछ interviews होते हैं ना जिनके लिए जब आपको पता चलता है कि आपको करना है, you feel like, oh wow, I'm at the right place at the right time.
I'm also excited to be here today because I heard that Naseer sir was coming. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, seriously, same. And welcome to Mirchi, both of you. And I feel this is that one moment which I will forever cherish, to be very honest.
Oh,
I might come across as someone who's praising a lot, but trust me, I have adored both of your work. So it's just surreal to be here.
Thanks very much.
I would like to start with, because we saw the trailer and we know that there are these 3 sons of yours, and there is a power dynamic, there is competition, but at the same time they're also fighting their inner demons. But what is Akbar's inner demons, sir? What are the inner demons that he's fighting?
There were plenty, apart from the fact that he had hundreds of concubines and 3 sons who were at loggerheads with each other. I think he had also a very complicated love life, and his spiritual search was something which was very much misunderstood at that time, and he was called a kafir and all that by people. But the fact is, the people in his court, the people he consulted, were Christian missionaries, Zoroastrian priests, Buddhist monks, Jain thinkers, and Sufi practitioners of Sufism. And from them, he assimilated what he thought was the perfect way to live a life, which would be what he called Sulah Kul, which means peace with all.
Okay.
And he was misunderstood because he started worshipping the fire, which was a Zoroastrian thing.
Yeah.
The good thoughts, good words, and good deeds is again Zoroastrian. A lot of the tenets are from the 10 Commandments, and the non-violence thing is from the Jain thinkers. Yeah. So he really wanted to bring all this together, and he said, "Why do we worship the setting sun? We should worship the rising sun because it brings life, it brings light, it gives us warmth, it gives us shelter." And so all these things were, went against the ठेकेदार्स of religion who said कि ये तो काफिर है, ये किस तरह की बातें कर रहा है, ये अपने आप को खुदा समझता है, and which was all wrong. So I think his biggest demon was this. Maybe in his heart of hearts, he hoped to be acknowledged as a prophet, but he never actually said so.
Yeah.
This is a big misunderstanding about the Deen-e-Ilahi, that it was propounded as a new religion. It wasn't. Deen-e-Ilahi was a term Akbar himself never used. So there were plenty of things. He was a troubled man. He ascended the throne when he was 13 or 14. Now, can you imagine what that must have meant? And then he had this mentor whose wife he later married as one of his wives. And so there must have been, I think he must have been a very tormented person.
Yeah. It comes across that there's this father who's saying to his sons that it's not just because someone is younger or someone is elder that you will descend the throne. It is based on your capacity and your capability.
Right.
And for the sons, he's the villain because he's doing something that's making them uncomfortable.
Yes.
Right? As a father, it must have been difficult as well for him. Do you think so?
Sure, it must have been difficult because, it's like everybody's not a Gandhi who can... when his own son was up for a scholarship to England, he recommended another student who he thought was more deserving.
Yeah.
And I was playing the role of Gandhiji in a play, and both my sons were acting as the sons when they were children. And one of them said to me, "Baba, would you do a thing like this?" So I said, "I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah. I'm not Gandhi." So Akbar really had this belief that it should be the most deserving one, not necessarily the eldest one who ascends the throne. And this upset the eldest son greatly, as it naturally would.
Yeah.
This whole business of kingship and inheritance is a big con pulled on humanity, I believe. You know,
It
the guy
is-
with the biggest stick declared himself king.
It's
Sorry.
like, it's family drama.
It's family drama, true. But Aditi, we've seen you in period dramas, of course, and I'm sure you get this question a lot of times that what is it that attracts you to period dramas? But I actually want to ask you that, okay, royalty and period dramas is a thing. Do you think there is an absolutely contrast role which you think you would be able to do complete justice to, but has not yet come your way? Like somewhere inside you feel that this is absolutely different from what I've done, but I feel I will really nail it.
Like a goofball comedy.
Okay, wow.
I'd love to do that. Because I love love stories. The more epic they are, the more I love them.
Yeah.
I love period dramas, whatever. But I also love to watch like murder mysteries. I still watch like Poirot, and I love reading murder mysteries. But yeah, comedy. Like,
Yeah.
It's one of the, you can make people cry. It's the toughest thing
Comedy
to
is the
make
toughest.
people laugh. Jaane bhi do yaro.
True.
You still watch it, you're dying laughing, the tears rolling down your eyes.
Yeah.
It's one of the toughest things.
Yeah, and you only get to know how difficult it is when you even try cracking a
Yeah.
joke amongst
Exactly.
your friends and it fails.
Yeah.
And I have a thing, I keep laughing. If I to find something funny, then the thing is happening like animation in front of it, I keep laughing. So to be part of a comedy, I'll drive everybody mad. I did one in Tamil. I laughed the most.
Yeah.
I had to be scolded. I can't laugh. And I had to like literally be like,
Yeah, you can't enjoy the joke while
yeah,
you're
because I'm
cracking
enjoying
it.
it the
Yeah.
most.
Absolutely. I was watching the previous interviews that the cast has been giving, and this question has been coming a lot about Salim and Anarkali and about what, of course, that's an epic that has already
Yeah.
happened. But I actually want to ask you, we're seeing a very different version of it in its own way.
Yeah.
This is a new way of looking at it, per se. Do you think the audience is accepting towards this changed way of looking at a Salim and an Anarkali?
Okay. I hope so. Also because it's not like we are saying we are remaking Mughal-e-Azam.
Right.
It's not. This is not a love story. It's really a family drama. It's an epic family drama. And it's about a father and his 3 sons and succession.
Yeah.
The love story is a part of it because it's a very important thing that happens in the lives of Akbar, Salim and Anarkali. This particular chapter, and as Naseer sir rightly said, we don't even know if like Anarkali she's not a historical character. She's imagination of various people and whatever. So I think they have taken certain liberties. And also, I think what this show delves more into is the human emotions.
Yeah.
Betrayal,
Yeah.
love, longing, lust, power.
Yeah.
It's power dynamics,
Yeah.
Even within the love, this thing, there's power dynamics. But I feel like Anarkali is very, very different. I mean, all the characters are, but Anarkali, for myself and to save myself the fear and the whatever, I feel like it's so differently written.
Yeah.
And the way I looked at her was just literally like a girl dealing with all the things that were happening around her. And actually, I see her as a very, very spirited and fearless girl in love and who stands up to the emperor.
Yeah.
And is ready to face any punishment for the truth and for the love that she truly believes in and wants,
Yeah.
So, and I loved also the way they used the music and the dance, it's not like, although I love dance and music and all, but in this, I felt it was more, it's, when you dance and you sing, you're free in your mind. You can be creative. It's so much about your imagination, right?
True.
So for a girl who is captive, the dance and the music frees her. Dancing with the birds or flying with the birds, or like you can imagine anything when
Yeah.
you dance and sing. So I felt that was so integral to her being in this. Not the showing of it, but the feeling of it
Yeah.
for her
Yeah.
as a human.
Absolutely. This question is for both of you. Do you by any chance think that, okay, so, we had films where there was a hero and there was a villain. And according to the audience, the hero was the good and the villain was the bad. But over the last few years, probably, we are seeing the contrast of not just the good, but also the bad. we see a villain and probably there is one part of the villain that we also empathize with.
Yeah.
And at some point we feel कि हाँ यार और क्या ही करता, मैं भी अगर इस जगह पे होता तो शायद यही करता. This whole way of changing the narrative in a way that you're showing all colors of a person, not be it a hero, be it a villain, irrespective. As a person, I could be very good, but I could still have the feeling of jealousy at a point in time. I could still somewhere feel ki I hate this person to an extent, I would kill him or her, you know. Do you think this is a positive change in itself in terms of content, that we're seeing all these shades come out?
Yeah,
Do you think it makes it more real?
I think so. It also shows that the writers are exerting themselves a little more.
Yeah.
And also what's happened is that the comedian who used to be an integral part of every commercial film has kind of vanished. Now the hero wants to be hero and villain and comedian all combined.
Yeah.
And it's greed and nothing else that is causing this. But I think the best villains are those who you, as they call it, love to hate.
Yeah.
Wow, so well said.
Yeah, Gabbar Singh is an example of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Who the audience loves to hate. In fact, I went to see Sholay in its first week in Ambar Oscar Minor in Andheri. The hall was half empty. I got a ticket in the current booking, which nobody believes today when I tell them this. And they were jeering Amjad Khan.
Okay.
And within 10 days, the whole story had changed. Because they suddenly realized, hey, we're rooting for the wrong guys. This chap is he's the one we want.
Yeah.
Gabbar. You cannot have a great hero without a great villain. So luckily, that kind of, clash of whatever it is, two forces has irresistible object versus the immovable force has not happened. There are more dimensions.
Yeah.
And definitely that's a good thing. It shows a growing understanding of human beings rather than just painting them in simple blacks and whites.
True.
And here there are plenty of greys in this one.
Yeah. Even while watching the trailer, we could feel that every person has so much. Like there are so many layers to every character. Just snapshots hame dikhe trailer mein.
Yeah.
And to be living as that person would have been so difficult. It was the thought that just came to...
But it's also human, like
yeah,
you
exactly.
so rightly
Yeah.
said. I mean, if you didn't feel many things, it's another matter that some people are able to control those feelings or not or whatever, and they don't go around taking out knives and whatever, chopping up people. But I feel like it's so human to feel these things, to acknowledge them and whatever. And I think it's nice when we see people like that even on screen because you relate to them.
Absolutely.
And they can be good even though they might have one horrible thought.
Yeah.
And the horrible people can also have a very tender side even though they're going around doing really nasty things.
This is just a curiosity that I have. Okay, so a friend of mine, a colleague, while we were discussing about Taj, told me that, when he thinks about these period dramas that have descendants and ancestry and all of that, he said that these days there are companies that help you track down your own ancestry.
Correct.
Did you, very curious, did you ever feel like, let's go and check out, मैं कहाँ से आया हूँ?
I am so
Not
mixed.
me, no.
I'm so very mixed. I'll go mad. First of all, everybody makes fun of me because they think I'm related to the whole world.
Yeah.
They're like, are you related to them? I'm like, no.
So not that.
I mean, I kind of... people have done it in my family, but more like
family tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have not done
Every family has that. My family goes back to 1857. I'd like to know what happened before that.
Yeah. The deep secrets. Yeah. Absolutely. This I was seeing an interview of you with Anupama Chopra sir, and where you spoke about the whole theatre experience. And when you go to the theatre, it's also the mass reaction that affects probably how you feel. ऐसे बहुत बार हम सभी एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं कि जाने के बाद immediately we are not in the film, but आजू बाजू everybody is. I had very honestly this experience with Drishyam too. Okay, I started watching it. The whole row has gone crazy, and after the point I started feeling मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि क्या हो रहा है. Then I'm like, I also want to laugh and enjoy like they are doing. Because we mentioned Mughal-e-Azam, when that came in the theaters and when people watched it and had their own experience versus something जिसकी story is about Salim, Anarkali, Akbar, of course. It is not a film. This is a series. It's coming on an OTT platform where I'm going to sit with my laptop or I'm going to have a little screen at my house and see it. Do you think the viewing experience also changes the way you approach the project by any chance? Do you think for OTT, you would have taken a different approach versus if this in itself was a
If
film?
this were, it would be a 12-hour film. I mean, who's going to watch it? Though I would love to see this on the big screen because the visual, I think, splendor is quite something.
Yeah.
Some of the sets are breathtaking. The costumes are wonderful. So it would be great to watch it on the big screen, but in one go, no, man, you'd a whole day of your life would go watching it.
Yeah.
I don't think the size of the screen ultimately affects your judgment of the content. You may miss the experience of, sitting like this and watching a movie. Yeah. But even if you're watching it on your telephone, if the content is strong enough, it'll grip you. That's what I feel.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Abhi?
I think nothing changes for actors, for sure. Because if you have to reach a person and you have to sit in their heart, it's the same. Whether where it's projected doesn't matter. You have to reach a person. But like practical things, I'm sure are different.
Yeah.
And I think, as Sir rightly said, when you go to a theatre and the whole world is cut off, then people just become larger. I mean, those characters become larger than life.
Yeah.
And it's like you and those people and that world at home, your doorbell also rings and various other things happen. But the intimacy is a different kind of intimacy because you can keep going back to it. And in the theatre, it's more like ephemeral. Like it's more intangible, like they're unreachable. Here, they're a part of your,
Yeah, there are so many people
You're connecting
who watch
directly.
It. Yeah.
And possibly what you said about like these human people who are doing good and bad and just being human.
Yeah.
Like those possibly are coming on more because of that kind of
Intimate
intimacy.
relation.
personal
Yeah.
experience.
Maybe.
And you're not depending on reacting as those around you are reacting. Because that happens, it's infectious.
Yeah.
If you go to watch a cricket match in the stadium
Yeah.
or watch it at home, there's a big difference.
100%.
In the stadium, you also start doing all that. But if you're watching it alone, you don't.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with a movie. You go to watch a Salman Khan movie, which I never do, but if you do, you'll certainly get affected by by everybody, the way they are celebrating his presence on the screen. So I really don't think it matters in the long run. I don't think it'll really matter.
Absolutely. So this question is for you. I'm sure a lot of people are curious about this one thing. You've done so much work already, and today when you are a part of so many different projects with so many new people whom you probably meet for the first time, I'm sure all of this requires you to be very open in terms of the experiences that you get on the set. Do you think there's a little child in you who's very keen to know that keeps you going?
A little side.
A child in you that's very keen to know, very curious, and which helps you adapt.
Yeah, I just love actors, and I find it very stimulating to work with young people. It's rejuvenating. I love looking at the hopes and dreams in their eyes.
Yeah.
It's very touching. And when I come across a hardworking actor, that is very, very gratifying. So I try to make it my job to make an actor who's nervous feel at home.
Wow.
Because if I'm making him uncomfortable, then I'm not doing a good job. And it's understandable. Though I personally have never felt nervous, even when confronted with someone like Mr. Dilip Kumar or Dharmendra Saab or any of these people. I don't feel nervous. I feel on the same wavelength. And so when I'm working with the younger actors, I try to get onto their wavelength.
Yeah.
And, make sure that there's no barrier.
Yeah.
Because if there is and this nervousness continues, it's not of any help to anybody.
Absolutely. I ask this from also this perspective कि कभी-कभी ऐसे होता है जैसे हम किसी कंपनी में 3 साल काम करते हैं and then this little feeling comes in your mind कि now I know how this place works. you know. Now I know इसके क्या functions होते हैं, होली पे ऑफिस में क्या celebration होते हैं, and New Year पे कब छुट्टी होती है. I know everything.
फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में कुछ नहीं पता चलता.
But
That's
like
what we
literally
do.
no day is ever the same.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even on a set that you've worked on for 50 days, the 51st day will not be the
Will not
same
be
as the
the same.
50th day.
Yeah.
That's what's so wonderful about our job. I think we are blessed. We actors are actually paid to do work which we would be willing to pay people to let us do. You know?
Yeah. It's like we get to be in Wonderland and people are asking us to be in Wonderland.
Yeah.
But you know, for us watching Naseer sir and all, it makes us also feel like, okay, we can be like this,
Yeah.
you know, forever. And this is valid and it's fine.
True.
It's really so, it makes you so happy and so like, oh my God.
I can only imagine. Amazing. Thank you so much, both of you. It has been such a nice conversation. And so you absolutely did not, you just removed all the discomfort from me because of course I mean, I'm very young in this field, I must say that, but it's really overwhelming to be told that you have to interview Naseeruddin Shah.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Can you imagine what we felt before we stepped onto our set?
Absolutely. I mean, imagine
Dying.
that. I mean, you have so many, like, what to say, no. You want to ask all the questions that you ever have for him. And you have limited time. So thank you so much for making me so comfortable.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Very nice
It's been
meeting
a
you. What's your
pleasure.
name?
My name is Dnyaneshwari.
Dnyaneshwari.
Yeah. And thank you so much,
Thank
Aditi.
you.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
talking
you.
to
Okay. Bye-bye.